I'm extra loud, and I don't need improvement. Fell asleep, a man woke up superhuman.
Yo, internet, what's going on? Do you know which game has been around for over 9 years now? Soon to be 10. Final Fantasy XIV. And apparently Square Enix, yeah, they're not thinking of actually making a sequel to that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of come up to where that people kind of have been asking, hey, will there be another MMO Final Fantasy game to come out, you know, after like the likes of Final Fantasy XI, and then the little bit of problem that kind of came about with Final Fantasy XIV before it morphed into a Realm Reborn, you know, that kind of thing, you know. And honestly, ever since it became a Realm Reborn and going through 3 grand DLCs, like with Shadowbringer being like its final one, or at least like its most recent one, it's kind of interesting how that at this point in time, since technically Shadowbringer came out no less than like 3 months ago, like 2-3 months ago, right? It's like that they're asking for a sequel to this game, which I believe still hasn't even touched on every single job in the Final Fantasy series. You know, so most likely it's a strong possibility that they might actually make some brand new jobs, or the fact that this thing it will never go away because of the fact that the game is still strong. There's still worlds in which that they can implement, like there's still other Final Fantasy games in which that they can pull from, different things like that they do here and there to make the game as great as what it is. Honestly, at this point, trying, man, to make a sequel to a game as big as Final Fantasy XIV, like, yeah, that in itself is a chore that I don't think that they're willing to tackle. In other news, Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't need turn-based combat to be good, and interestingly enough, I feel like that this is a conversation in which that we've had time and time again, because basically we keep dealing with fans who stand by, hey man, you know, Final Fantasy VII, it needs turn-based combat because that's what it had when we grew up and everything. And for the most part, I wouldn't call those guys wrong. Okay, because again, turn-based combat is basically, it's gone the way of tank controls. I mean, tank controls, they're not bad, but at the same time though, it's like trying to put that into a modern day game of how people play games now. You know, it's sort of like trying to play a first-person shooter before they finally nailed it with Call of Duty 4. Like, go back and play Bullet Witch and see how that treats you. You know, but again, like, turn-based combat is not the same as, you know, like the quirky, weird, semi-messed up first-person controls of yesteryear, or even going so far as to look at how games were made, like using tank controls and so on and so forth. You can pick from the classic mechanics and just say, yeah, like these don't work or these do work. It's kind of the same thing here, you know. But looking at the turn-based thing, right? And seeing as how, I mean, at this point, everybody who was a fan who saw the reveal at E3, like all the gameplay and everything of Final Fantasy VII Remake, we know how this game plays. Okay, we know that they're saying that it's an ATB system, which that fills up your 2 little meters down there. I mean, like these the 2 yellow meters next to your health bar, and then you use those to activate the menus and everything. Mind you, I see what they're saying, but at the same time though, I'm actually just happy that it's not just run around, swing your weapon. Apparently it's a little bit more than just mashing the square button and the triangle button. Apparently you do have specific combos, you do have specific abilities, you do have specific like combinations of attacks in which that you do get whenever you mix in square and triangle. You know, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that we still haven't touched on, but based on what they did bring, the combat's actually pretty good. You know, the same thing can be said for them bringing life to brand new faces and everything. I mean, again, Midgar, the Shinra corporation building, you know, like the slums, the church, all of that. It feels real now, or at least it feels a little bit better. Like, honestly, I haven't felt this way about a scene since basically like that they did this back in Crisis Core when they remade the Shinra Mansion, you know, which, to be fair, I'm actually curious as to how that's going to look. I'm actually curious as to how Don Corneo is going to look, you know, or like, will most of the Turks, like, will they keep their movie aesthetic and everything? But that is kind of like the gist of the Final Fantasy VII news, so, you know, stay tuned. Finally, the Tokyo Game Show plans the GS news update. With the Tokyo Game Show 2019, it will show off PS4 titles such as, of course, Final Fantasy VII Remake, of course, Neo 2, which I'm really hoping for, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the company. Like, this is just Modern Warfare. The company will not feature its usual press conference. So that's interesting. But the good thing is, though, is that we do get to see more Final Fantasy VII. We do get to see a little bit of Neo 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that's up in the air, but if anything, I'm kind of a bit more hyped for Borderlands, but still, at the end of the day, though, that is what I gotta say about that. I'll catch you guys on the next Jongravesshow. Share your comments, share your thoughts and views. I'll see you next time. I'm out.